The following is the extract of a course linked in the description.
Hey guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate that on this new video. So what we're gonna see today is something that I started to talk a little bit at the end of the last video when we were looking at the different mastering plugins, and what I was referring to is metering plugins or spectrum analyzer, depending on how you want to call it, but sorry, it allows you to see what is the loudness of the overall project, right? And I have a few things that I want to show you, so let's get into that. So what we're going to do over here, this is a project that I'm going to be using. It's something is one of the demo project that comes with FL Studio, so you can definitely have the same. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to start this project. Okay, so this is a song over here.
When the darkness turns to light.
Pretty nice song, but we're gonna get right away into what we want to do over here. So let me bring you really quickly in this page over here, and what you're gonna notice over here, this is a Spotify page that basically talk about loudness or loudness normalization. So what is letting us know over here, this is what basically they they think about loudness. They say for if you have a project that's a minus 11 dB LUFS, and LUFS is a unit of loudness, and it actually means over here loudness unit full scale, right? So it's just a unit of loudness. Don't I would say don't read too much into that. So if you have an overall project that is a minus 11 dB, it means that your project is pretty loud. If you have one that's about minus 14, means it's normal. Minus 23 means that it is a little bit quiet. So unless you're an alien, right, and you have like an internal metering in your ear, you're gonna need some plugin to be able to know what is the level of loudness of your project. The additional thing that we're gonna see over here, so it's gonna let us know. So it's gonna say when you're basically uh, so it says loudness normalization means we don't always play your track at the level it is mastered. So when you're uploading your track to Spotify, they won't always play it at the level you basically have it. Uh, they're gonna try to change it a little bit based on their algorithm or what works for their platform. So they say they're gonna basically over here they're recommending you to target the loudness level of your master to be at minus 14. If it is more than that, they're gonna bring it down to this level over here, right? And they say so this is minus 14 for the LUFS, but they also say keep it below minus dB for the true peak max, and we're going to see what is the true peak max. Okay, the additional thing that they're saying here is if your master is above the minus dB that they're recommending here, just go ahead and make sure that you stay below minus 2 dB of true peak to avoid distortion, because when this is going to be above what they're going to have over here, when they're going to bring it down, it's going to create distortion, especially if you do not respect this. Okay, so we need to make sure that we know what those two different what are the two different things that they're talking about here, the LUFS and the true peak, where we can see it and how we can monitor it. So to monitor it, this is where I have the different plugins over here I'm going to show you. Again, we're coming back to that T-Rex 5 Max, that bundle. You just have a lot of it takes care of a lot of the needs that you will need for mixing and mastering. So I strongly recommend if you can, if you have the money, go ahead and do that. But again, wait until maybe if you a little bit strapped on cash, you can wait to towards the end of the year. They usually have some deals. So this is the one over here, and if you pay attention over here, you're gonna see it's LUFS, and we have peak over here that we can see. So this is where we're able to see some of those different units there that they're talking about. Okay, the other one over here we have is Ozone 9, and that one as well is a pretty great suite. I do find that it uses a little bit too much power on my end of my computer, but it's something that a lot of people recommend. If we come up here and we look at the price really quickly, As well, you're gonna see it's about 4.99, a little bit out there, a little bit high, but it depends on the version that you have. So if we go with something that is standard, you need to make sure that it does include the plugins that you want, but it's gonna be a little bit cheaper. Okay. So if we move up here, oh, that's the same page. If we come up here, you have the Yulin loudness meter. So this one is a plugin that is actually free. You should have said that somewhere. Well, so you see over here, free product, free, right? So you can actually come up here and download it. It is actually free. I think there is a version where you actually pay up, but you get a couple extra stuff. But just with the free version, that's all you need. It's gonna allow you to see the LUFS and as well the True Peak Max as well. Okay. And when we come up here, we have another one which is Voxengo Span, right? And all those I'm going to include the links of those in the description, so you can go ahead and just click on those links. And this one as well, it is free, and it's going to allow us to know as well some of the true peak. And he has another way of looking at the loudness, but we're going to have a look at that. So let's jump in our song. So this is our song over here. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to disable the all the three plugins that we have over here. Okay, I'm gonna use, just for starting up here, Maximus. Okay, and I want to point out a couple things. So the other thing that I'm gonna also bring out is gonna be the Yulin over here. Okay, so this is the Yulin over here. Usually if I play it, you're gonna see it's gonna show me a graph over here.
When the darkness turns to light,
I don't really use that, so usually what I do is I'm gonna come up here and I'm just gonna turn it off over here. What's really important for me is the readings that I'm seeing here. But depending on what you want, you can make it display there. The other thing that we're gonna do before we really start here, we need to make sure that we are looking at the loudest part of our track, right? Which I believe, let me just, so I think,
there's no need to be,
yeah, so I think around here,
there's no need to be, moments never go away.
I would say it's either this part or that part. So usually I will play it, quite in the loop, but it's gonna do for what we want to do here, right? So let's jump in here. I have the Maximus, and basically let's say that I will go ahead and try to set really quickly some levels here. So let me just play.
There's no need to be, moments never go away. There's no need to be, moments never go away. There's no need to be, moments never go away.
Let's just say that I came up with this, right? So if I look at the Yulin over here and I'm gonna play it,
There's no need to be, moments never go away.
that's all I need over here. So what you're gonna notice is in this part we have the LUFS, which is at -12, right? We want it to be at -14, so this is higher, right? And over here, this is where you're gonna find the True Peak Max, and the True Peak Max, they recommend it to be either at -1 or at -2, but over here we have 0.2 and it's even in red, right? So the first thing that we're going to work on is going to be the True Peak Max over here. How can we work on that True Peak Max and break it down to -1 or -2 2 dB? So the way I usually do that, or the way usually it's recommended, sometimes you're going to have something like the mastering plugin that you're using over here from the very start. It might have an option to actually limit the true peak depending on which plugin you're using. But if it doesn't, the way you actually gonna do it is with a limiter. So over here I'm just gonna go and look up the free limiter, right? And with the free limiter you can either work on with the ceiling or the gain, and basically I'm just gonna, let's say I want to bring it down to the -2 that they were recommending. So I'm looking at it over here. I put it at -2 dB, right? And from here I'm gonna reset this and I'm gonna play it again. One thing that you're gonna notice with the 3D limiter, and that's why I use all the plugins, is even though I have set it at -2, sometimes that true peak still comes above -2. I don't know if there are some other options settings that I need to turn in somewhere. I haven't seen it, right? Usually for the limiter, that's the only thing that you need to set the setting, but for some reason it does go over a little bit above, and this is what we're gonna see over here. So let's go ahead and play it.
It's no need to be, performance never go away.
So this is what we're seeing over here. Even though we set it at -2, so you see it's better now, because before we were at 0.5, right above 0, but now we are at -1.5, but we are above the -2 that we have set. And actually, let me see if I can make this a little bit, yeah, like this. Okay, so we are above the -2 that we just set. So if I come back here, it's gonna be a little bit of the same thing with the gain as well. I'm just gonna set the gain over here at -2, just like this, right? Gonna reset it. Let's listen to it again.
It's no need to be afraid. And every day and night, moments never go away. It's no.
So you see over here at some point we're at -1.3, -1.6. We're still above the 1.2, right? The -2 that we set there. So usually what I found is it just really depends on the plugin. The plugin that I actually use, so if I tap over here limiter, sometimes I would use the stealth limiter here, but even this one is slightly, sometimes I find it, depending on the song, it could be slightly above the level that I set, but very slightly. So if I set it over here at -2 dB, that's the only one that I have over here. So I have the Maximus. All those other one are not used. I have the Maximus, the limiter, and over here I have the meter over here. We're gonna set it back.
It's no need to be afraid. And every day and night, moments never go away. It's no need to be afraid.
So I don't know if you paid attention at some point. It was at -1.9. It was really small, but we really have the level that we set over there. That's that. Like I said, like it really depends on the song. Some songs I find it's not that accurate. The one that's a little bit more accurate for me, and the TR5, again, this is part of that plugin that I show you over here, the bundle. So it's part of that. And the next plugin that I'm gonna display over here as well is basically part of that as well, the same bundle. But that one, the name is break wall. So it's basically just like a wall. Whatever you set there, that's what I found is that's where that sound is gonna be. It's not gonna go above that, right? So let's reset that, and let's look at the true peak.
It's no need to be afraid. And every day and night, moments never go away. It's no need to be afraid.
So you can see over here, whatever we do, it seems like we're always below that -2. So we had -2.1, we had -2.2, I believe I've seen there, but we didn't get into the -1.9, right? So that's with the brick wall. I think it just depends on the settings, the algorithm of the plugin that you're using. Some plugins are going to be very accurate. Some of the plugins might let some sound go through a little bit. So just be mindful of that, and that's what I wanted to show you. So now we have taken care of that. Now let's take care now of the LUFS over here. So when I'm playing the LUFS, you probably pay attention that we are above the -14 that Spotify was asking us, right? So if I play here,
It's no need to be
right? So we are around like minus, and I think that part, let me just set it up here. I think that's a little bit loudest could be around here, that like this. So basically what we have is we are minus 13. It's not that far from minus 14, but we still above it. So with the Maximus, usually you're gonna find a way to either, so over here I have set all the different levels here, but the master, this is where I can come and actually pull back a little bit the the all the overall sound coming out of the Maximus. So what I'm gonna play,
There's no need to be afraid. Moments never go away. There's no need to be afraid. Moments never go away.
so this is where you see now, like before we are at minus 13, but now we came down and we are around minus 15.4. I think I also saw minus 16 there, that was showing. So sorry. So this is something that you're able to do, and this is how you're able to work with the LUFS here. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you, is a plugin. Let me remove as well the breakwater over here, and I think let me remove as well some of those over here, because that plugin I just find that on my end it seems to use a little bit too much resources. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the ozone, right? So I'm gonna have the ozone over here. Like I said, I found this continue. This is giving me issues just like the last time. I find that with this plugin here, it does use a little bit more resource than I want. But with that, I did talk a little bit the last time with about the master assistant, where it's doing the mastering for you. But you have some other plugins here that are pretty good as well. And the one we're gonna look at is the maximizer. So with the maximizer, basically what you have is we're gonna look at this part and we're gonna look at this part where we are able to set some settings here, and the maximizer is gonna do the work for us, right? So we're gonna set, so let's say we wanted the loudest that we want the track to be overall. So that's why you need to look for the loudest part of your song to be at minus 15, right? And over here, so this is where, so that maximizer come with an option that actually says true peak, right? So let's say that for our true peak here, we want to set it, so we're going to set the ceiling over here. Let's go for maybe 2.5 to change a little bit from the minus 2 that we had there, right? So when we have that, what I'm going to do now, so the ozone over here, let's remember that we need to turn it on, and I'm going to play the song, and I'm going to push on learn threshold here, and it's going to go ahead and learn, basically listen to the song and set the right level. So let's do that.
There's no need to be afraid. Moments never go away.
So you saw there, it was basically moving that threshold on its own over here. Okay, so basically this is what we have. So what I'm going to do now, let me turn this off. Let me come up here to the Ulin, and I'm going to reset this. I'm going to play this, and we're going to see what are the levels that we're able to see. So if you remember, we set it at minus 15 LUFS, and we set the true peak over here at minus 2.5. So let's play it.
There's no need to be afraid. Moments never go away.
So you can see that that maximizer was able to really get us there really quickly. It was doing the job for us. One more thing, so the last thing I just want to bring is the span over here, because I did mention that just really quickly. So one thing with the span is we're gonna try to read over here. So it does provide you as well with the true peak, right? And I find that true peak accurate. But over here, usually, let me just have a look. I think you can actually look at the LUFS, but usually I just leave it on the default one over here. And over here you have RMS, and RMS is just another way of reading loudness. It's a little bit different than LUFX. So if I just come out here really quickly, you have loudness unit full scale, and you're gonna see over here Spotify has it at minus 14, right? Apple Music at minus 16. YouTube as well is gonna have its own thing. And if I come up here, really quickly, you're gonna see over here, you're gonna read RMS and LUFS are tools for grasping the average level of a piece of music, with RMS being typically over 300 ms milliseconds, and LUFS over the whole recording. And basically, it's just another unit, is just a metering tool that measure the average loudness of an audio track, right? So just depends what you know. If you're an engineer, you might know a little bit more the difference of that, but it's pretty much the same, but there is some difference in the way it is calculated. So if I play this,
It's no need to be afraid. Moments never go away.
so you can see over here we had minus 2.5, and over here we are minus 18, minus 17. So we are not at the minus 15 that we said over here, but the true peak, that's definitely it. I believe if I change it over here, I should be able, although I don't use it that much, so I don't want to tell something that that is incorrect. Let me try over here.
It's no need to be afraid.
So we're ready there at minus 15, and we have that true peak at 2.5. So that's what I had for you. If you have any question, feel free to let me know. I'm going to include some of those links in the description, right? But this is what I wanted to show you. This is how you're able to read the loudness. So when you go ahead, you increase the master, some of the levels in your plugin for mastering. You don't just push it just to push it, right? You need to make sure that you know where you need to push it, and make sure that you're meeting the requirements depending on the platform where you're going to upload it. Thank you for joining me, and we're going to talk in the next video.